Right, hi all, and thanks for this is the second installment of In the Music podcast. We have got the man of the moment at the moment, DJ Lucas Alexander. This man's on fire. So yeah, if anyone's seen his DJ sets, there's one thing I got to say to this guy: it is just energy, loads of energy. It's great with a smile on his face always, and his production at the minute is just, you've got, well, if you must have heard it because they're everywhere at the minute. Is release. But before we get there, Luke, well, hi Lucas, how are you doing? But the one question that I literally just thought of as well, you have to tell me what it was like playing in the castle, because that Shangri-La party looked amazing. So what was it like?
Oh, it was crazy, mate. Crazy. I've always said from young, ever since I wanted to go and watch Michael Jackson in there, my mum wouldn't take me. So I was like, oh, one day I'm definitely getting in there. Definitely want to play in there. So when it came up, I was like, didn't want to think about it too much, because with everything that was happening, I was like, oh, if it gets cancelled, it doesn't go ahead. I was like, oh, I'm going to be absolutely devastated. So then it's getting closer and closer. I was thinking, oh, it's definitely going to happen here. Yeah. And she got in there, it was just mad, man. And having all my family there, like my mum, dad, my brother and sister and that, man. So it was just quality.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, it's the first gig they've ever come to as well, man. So it was good.
Oh, that's brilliant. So it was really special then.
So it was quality, man. Literally, my mum lives about not even 10-minute walk from the castle. So it was literally just down the road. And when I was up on the sea, I could see stuff around that I could see from my house. So I was thinking, oh, this is mad. Many people there as well. It's wicked, man.
Do you know what's funny you say that, right? It's like it says 10 minutes from your mother's house. I lived in Riverside, lived on Fitzhamon Embankment. Yeah. And I that was, so the castle was the end of the road, really. Yeah. I never went to the castle. I never went there. It's on your doorstep.
Only on a school trip. I remember going on a school trip when we were younger. That's about it, man. When we were in primary school, I think.
Yeah. But literally now, one of the biggest sort of pinnacles for you now is Cardiff Castle. You've done it, so unbelievable. And fair play to you and the Shangri-La lot for putting on an amazing party. But so I had to ask that was being a proud Welshman as yourself, and you are the Welsh.
Actually, well. Brilliant. Do you know, I was in the shop and they had like a baby blue Cardiff City top, like I think it must be like training kit or something like that. And I was looking at it, I was thinking, I'm not sure how many people, because the bluebird was so small on it. I was like, I don't know how many people will be able to see it. Yeah. Thinking, oh, it's got to be a Wales top. And then when I first seen that away kit, I wanted to get it anyway. So then that was a perfect opportunity. I thought, oh, if I get it, when am I ever going to wear it? And when the castle came, I thought, oh, yeah, I get it for that.
Yeah, brilliant. No, perfect top. Perfect. Perfect. So I'm going to take you, I'm always interested, right, sort of with people on what was playing at home, because the things that playing in my house, was very, very sort of very varied from my mother, my father, different influences. So for you then, sort of, what was playing at home when you were a kid, when you were in a house, what was playing?
There's loads of stuff playing, man. It was always music on, and my dad's Jamaican. Yeah. So, and then my mum always played reggae in the house, like when she was cooking and stuff like that. Yeah. But then we had a record player, and we used to have like Motown records and stuff like that. So we used to play a lot of Motown. And it was always different types of music. But I think like my older brother and sister as well always put different types of music on. So like when my mum downstairs cooking, playing that type of stuff, then they'd be upstairs in the bedrooms playing other stuff like dance music and like hip-hop and stuff like that, man. Yeah. So I think it's just I don't know. My sister brought a tape home called In the Mix 96. Yeah. And that had like loads of old school like dance music on, things like Deep Dish and stuff like that. Like, so I think that was like where the dance music part of it came into it. Yeah. But growing up, it was mostly like Motown and reggae.
Wicked. Yeah. Well, do you know what? If you're going to get influenced, then Motown records. That's not a bad influence there. Well, the amount of sort of artists that come through there. It's a fascinating story, Motown. Fascinating.
Yeah. Well, they say Motown created the first 4/4 beats. So they 4/4 beats.
Yeah.
Where it came from. So that's the origins.
Yeah. Because to be honest with you, in your production, there's quite a lot of live sounding stuff in as well. It sounds quite live. Yeah. With how you do it as well. So I gather that that year from when you're a kid is just influenced your production skills as well.
I always try to take like little live elements and input into the electrical bits as well. I don't like to electronic sounding drums. So I always incorporate some live stuff and just loads of old school samples all chopped up in together.
What so obviously you got that from your mother and father. Obviously your brother and sister were getting into that dance music then as well. And then sort of what influenced you to get into dance music? Or was it your sister's tape and then suddenly?
I think that might have been like the first time I would have heard dance music like that. And then mainly my brother used to, he only listens to garage. He loves his UK garage. So from that, I think that's where my first, look into that type of scene, because obviously on all the tape packs he used to bring home when he used to go raving and that, there was always house music. It was like house and garage then, wouldn't it? So house tracks incorporated into the garage sets and stuff like that, or just like garage remixes of house tracks. So I think that was my first look into like dance music. I think that must be where it originally come from, because before that, in like growing up in school, everyone was just like hip hop and R&B, and I was like into my hip hop and R&B back then as well. So I think if it wasn't for him listening to that, I don't think I would have ever heard it.
That's brilliant. So your brother sort of had the influence in that UK, because you could garage in Cardiff, because a friend of mine had a night called Funky Marvelous. Which when was that? That was about sort of 2000, I think it was. And I remember garage just exploded in Cardiff.
It was because I just remember through him, all his friends listened to garage. So when they all had cars and stuff, and now they're going out and they used to come pick up, they only used to play garage and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So everyone where I was growing up, everybody was a garage DJ and went to garage nights and stuff like that. So I think that was like the biggest influence.
There was the big strong contingency, with the V2 crew as well, and obviously they were influential in the scene back then as well.
Yeah, definitely. I remember going into Catapult and buying records from whatever Richie from V2 Crew said, "Oh, this is the biggest one." I was like, "Oh yeah, well, I'll buy
that." Brilliant. So from that then, right? So you obviously got into the garage scene for your brother. Was it like, actually, I want to become a DJ. I want to become like Richie Vatslu. I want to be these like Todd Edwards, and this is what I want to be. Or was it actually you want to go down the production route? And did you actually start? What came first? Was it DJ Lucas or the producer DJ Lucas?
I think it's both around the same time. So I think from around the corner from me, like two of my best mates, like my brother's best mate was named Stuart, and he had a set of decks, and then he had a little brother called Scott, who I used to hang around with. Every weekend we used to go over there, and all we used to do is like play PlayStation, play FIFA or whatever. And then if you weren't playing, you'd be mixing. So like whoever wasn't playing the computer would be mixing, and whoever. But you know what I mean? So just used to do that all night, every night. I think that's what had come first. But then we used to play that Music 2000 on PlayStation as well. So I think that was like the first thing that I seen like about like music production and how music was made. And then I can't remember why. I must have just been talking to my mum about it, but she bought me something called Magic's Maker 2000 off QVC. And it's basically just a program you upload loops into, and like a big thick. I think it would be like four CDs for the PC, and I think it just went from there then. So it would have been like around exactly the same time. So
you're making it and playing at the same time.
Just loading loops in and just trying to make music like that. That would have been at the same time as I started to DJ, and I figured out you could put acapellas in there. So I was just trying to make remixes of tracks. So obviously I didn't know anything about like what I was trying to make, but when I had an acapella, I just put it straight into the PC and try and make a remix of it with just different loops or different instrumentals and things like that. So I think it was around the same time, man.
So have you got any of that stuff? Have you still got any of that stuff?
My sister always sends me like random pictures if she's down my mum's or something and looking through stuff of like random CDs that I used to make and stuff like that. So there probably is some early productions down there somewhere. There'll definitely be some remixes floating about that I made on the PC.
Do you know, it'd be great to look back and just listen to the stuff that
definitely. I need to go down there and have a look through, because you don't chuck anything away anyway, so there'd be all old CDs, burnt CDs and stuff like that down there still. I need to get down there and have a look.
Do you know what? It's fine, because when I look back, right, when I look back, of the stuff that I used to mix when I first started, they're not on CDs, they're on actually tapes. So that's how far back I'm going.
I know that's the thing. Anytime we used to like do a mix, it used to be on tape, because obviously CD burners then. It was only from, it must have been the production must have come just after, because I don't think I would have had a PC when we first started mixing vinyl. So it must have been just like a couple of years apart. So it must have been the DJing.
Yeah.
And then once I ended up getting a PC, I think that's when the production must have started then.
Yeah. Did you have it in mind actually, right? From an early age from then, did you think, do you know what? I love this. Yeah. And I want to do this for a living. Or it was just like, I'm just loving this, I'm having fun.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was just my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So like, I wouldn't, when everyone was playing the PlayStation, I wasn't too bothered about it. Like, you know what I mean? So I was just always happy to stay on the decks mixing while everybody else played PlayStation. It was just one of those things where it was my favorite thing to do. So as soon as school was finished on the Friday, it'd literally just be home, have food, go around mates and just mix until I had to go into bed, and get straight back up on a Saturday and go mix again.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I don't think there was ever any thought of like DJing in it. I'd never been to a club, so there was definitely no thought of DJing in a club.
Yeah. So again, right? So all your music year then, so because when you go to a club now and you hear a track and that influence, I like that. I like that sound. All your influence and creativity was just literally coming from just jumping on there and listening to tapes and everything, but you're creating your own thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
There was nothing about like DJ sets or like how it sounds in the club or anything like that. It was literally just mix, and you'd end up finding 2 tracks that work perfectly together. So that would be the mix. So you knew when you started, I've got these 2 tracks, I know I can jump on now, mix them 2 tracks nicely, and then we'd go from there and just go through all the vinyls and see what fitted best. Just
Saturday mornings on the Catapult, was it always down there?
Yeah, always, man. It was always, because they used to have like the shelf where they used to have like the best like 5 tracks, UK garage tracks that week. Just go in there, and they always would have like, the presses. There's only like 500 copies pressed.
Yeah.
And so you go there, you'd be like, oh yeah, how many of these are left? I'll get them. Hoping no one else who used to come around and have a mix of us had got it yet. So just be like, we get home and be like, oh, look what I got today.
do you know what? Right? That's a topic in itself. Right? I think I wrote online about this recently, about when obviously we used to go down record shopping, and Catapult was definitely one on a Saturday morning, and even go further afield, go to London, Bristol, Birmingham, just to find that one record, because when you're searching, it's just, and as you said, I've got this record.
Yeah.
So what record shopping was amazing.
Yeah, it was so good. And it just, a lot of people as well, like, if you didn't dig in there for long enough, you wouldn't find certain tracks. Yeah. So if you spent like an hour in there, you'd come out of there thinking, oh no, I know no one spent that long in there this week. I know I'm going to have it back to this weekend.
Yeah. You come out, your eardrums are bleeding because you've been listening to so much music. Yeah.
I know, man. So good, man.
So with production at the moment, then obviously you had that setup then, right? Mm. What is the setup now? What is your studio? What does it look like? What equipment have you got in there? And certainly as well for the DJing side of it. What is you got decks? Have you got CDs? Yeah. No, how is it?
So I reckon I had decks about my, I'd say 12th or 13th birthday, something like that.
Did you?
My first set of decks. I remember just asking my mum for ages for them. So I must have wanted them for a while. Yeah. And I remember one birthday when I got them, it was like purple Newmark direct drives they were as well. So I remember always going on about, oh no, they have to be direct drive. They have to be direct drive.
Yeah.
So I ended up with a pair for like my 13th birthday. I had them for a while, but I can't ever remember what happened to them. I must have like sold them at one point or something. Yeah. But I've never bought a pair of decks since, or had a pair of CDJs. Anytime I learned how to use CDJs in a club.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Because I'd always played records. Yeah. When I started going further away. So when I used to go to Manchester, I used to have to take all the CD cases on the train, all the record cases on the train.
Yeah.
So and then I was looking into how I was going to do it, because I was going over to Malia to try and DJ.
Yeah.
When I ended up going there, and then when I got there, like it was CDJs, and I had never used them. So everyone's like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to try and use these. So in the club that night on my trial, it was the first time I ever used a pair of CDJ.
Wow.
Wow.
How'd you get on?
Yeah, I got the job, mate.
Brilliant.
So
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'd never even seen a pair of them before. Man.
So literally, when you turn up a gig, so you've got in your studio, it's obviously a production setup. You've got no decks or CDJs.
Yeah.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Because for the last however many years I've been playing so regularly. Like at some points, when I was doing like student nights, and now years ago I used to play like 4 or 5 nights a week and stuff like that. So there was never any. I never ever thought, oh, let me get a pair of decks, because every night of the week I was always playing. Decks in the club and stuff like that. So I'd be playing all night long. So I just have 5 hours of me on the deck. So I never really thought of getting another pair after that, man.
Yeah, well, if you're playing that often, So your home studio, what does it consist of at the moment? What is it?
So I put a deposit down on a studio like a year ago now, and it was supposed to be finished last November it was supposed to be finished.
Yeah.
And obviously with lockdown and everything like that, it couldn't go ahead. So then I had to wait a year. And then when I got the keys to the studio about a month ago now, another studio came up at exactly the same day. So the same day, after I'd been waiting a year, on the same day I got 2 sets of keys for 2 different studios.
Wow.
So I had to go. One was like a shipping container.
Yeah.
I had to go back and say, oh, look, I found somewhere else now. I'm going to have to go to this other place. But I found like another place now, which is like it's much bigger. So I built my own vocal booth in there, and my brother built it for me. I've got a nice vocal booth in there, and it's got. I'm gonna get some decks now. I'm gonna build a DJ box in there and stuff, and it's good now. It's nice, man. I'm just waiting on. I got a new pair of Adams coming this week, so I wanted to get them in there and then get everything installed properly, like all the.
What do you use production wise? I use
Logic.
Right. Yeah.
I use Logic. So originally, my mates taught me how to use Reason.
Yeah.
And then the organ grinder showed me a few bits on how to
use
it.
Yeah.
And then from there, one of the other guys who used to produce drum bass in Cardiff, Marlon. Do you know Marlon B?
Yes. Yeah.
He used to make drum and bass, and then I can remember he came over and showed me how to use Logic.
Yeah.
And I've been using that ever since then, and that was years ago now, man.
So that's all self-taught. Marlon just saying, look at this, and then just jumping on it.
I went to college Glenhavron to do music and radio.
Yeah.
That was all on Cubase.
Right.
So I started on Cubase from there, and then after that I got into Reason, and then into Logic, and I just used Logic ever since then.
Yeah. So that's the one tool that's your setup.
And then I got quite a bit of outboard stuff. I've got like a Korg mini log. I've got the TR8 drum machine, model cycle, SH101 in there as well. But my main go-to thing, I used a Roland TB3.
Right.
A little acid box.
Yeah. Is that the one you're always in the
Yeah. That's the one I'm always like. I start all my tunes on that.
Yeah.
Like a bass line, or just like even one little acidy plugs out of us or anything like that. I start on that for every track, and then after I've got something going on there, then I take it from there into the Logic, and then go from there.
So how do you know? Like, how do you start? Do you just like start messing around with things, or you always like, right? I plan my. Well, I'm just gonna work on a kick drum. You get a bass line going, just like see the sound. How do you work?
I always start about thinking when I want to play it.
Yeah.
So if I've got a gig, so I might have a gig I'm playing like a warm up set, or I might have a gig I'm playing a closing set or something like that. I always start thinking, I want to either make a main peak time track, or a warm up track, or an end of the night track, and I just think where I would play it in my DJ set.
Yeah.
I'm like, so if I know I've been like playing like an hour's worth of music, let's say at the end of that hour I want to make something that slots in perfect with this track or with that track. So then I go from there. Then I think, what would I mix it in with?
That's brilliant.
So I want to make a track that mixes in perfectly with this, that I know is going to take it up a level, or like take it like down a level, or all that type of stuff. That then I go from there. Then
that's a great way of looking at it. That's because at least you've got a vision. Like actually, you can see what the club is going to be like at that time, and you know what sort of music you're going to play, and then that's a great idea to do that.
Yeah, I always try and think like where I would, like when I'm making like the breakdown and stuff like that, I always try and think where would I be listening to it, like what would I want to hear if I was on the dance floor. Yeah, because I spent so much time on the dance floor in so many places. I'm thinking, what would I want to hear when I was there at that time, and all stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, you're putting your shoes in the places there, because you obviously I say you used to be one, you still are one, because you're a massive fan of music, so you're always on the dance floor as well. Yeah,
that's, I mean, I love it, man. It's my favorite place, man. Just stand right in the middle and see who's playing what and like what's going on and that. I love it.
Do you know what? And just as I opened up, right, I've seen loads of clips of you sort of with your DJing, and I was on sort of your Instagram feed and Facebook, and other people have posted stuff as well. And it's just like, you are the happiest guy, right, in that club, because I'm looking and thinking, do you know what? If he's having fun, I'm having fun, because you're just lucky. You just, that's what I'm saying. The energy that's like coming from you is it's just, it's too, because every DJ is different. But I know if I go to a club and I seen you, that I'd be buzzing off you. Just not, and then the music's a bonus because you're just having a great time.
Yeah.
It's a great,
just because it is just my favorite thing to do. So every time, and if I'm listening to it or playing it or making it or whatever like that, it's nothing else I want to be doing. So anytime I'm in the club, I'm just like, oh yeah, like, especially even if it's not me playing it, I'm listening to like one of my mates play, or like a big DJ or something like that. Yeah, like there's nowhere else I'd want to be. So I am having the best time I could possibly be having at that time.
You can tell, and honest to God, it's just betraying, and you know that it sets, you're setting the standard there. But enjoy yourself. It's the best, best job in the world.
That is what it's all about, man.
Yeah. So label-wise, at the minute, right? You've got a few things coming up, but I want to ask you sort of labels that you've been working with, and what labels actually do you want love to work with, and looking at what I need to get on that.
Yeah, it changes all the time, because like, as the music changes, like different labels go in different directions and stuff like that, don't they? So like, when I first started, I had like one thing in mind, and then as my musical taste changed and like I started listening to different DJs and stuff like that, that changes. But I think the main things that like from like what's influenced me and just legendary stuff, I think Strictly Rhythm is probably the most legendary ever. So I think that's always going to be the number one goal, because of the tracks that always come out on there and stuff like that, you can't ever. They're part of the history of the scene and stuff like that. So I think if I was on that, then I'd become part of the history in the scene, like, you know, going in the future and stuff like that. So I think it was like Strictly Rhythm, Nervous, and Crosstown Rebels as well was a big one for me when I first started getting in. So I think those three are always going to be at the top, because they've always just been constant with what they're releasing, and everything they do is like, it's just iconic now, isn't it? So I think those would be their ultimate goal, man.
Yeah, do you know what? That's three massive labels. You know, Strictly Rhythm, especially. I mean, it's just like you said, the amount of just hits and and even music that they produced back in the early 90s. You play it now, it's fresh. And no doubt you play some of that as well in your sets now.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I think a lot of the Nervous record stuff as well is that stripped back, you know, sound, and that's like the kind of sound which I like to hear and like to make. So I think that suits my musical taste as well, man. And then Crosstown Rebels is just legendary. Like, Lazarus is one of my favorite producers, and like things that he's done for the scene and the amount of people that he's brought in, like all like Hot Natured stuff and Jamie Jones stuff was our first on Crosstown Rebels. Like Mason X has been one of my favorite DJs, and he started, you know, Lazarus gave him his first shot on Crosstown Rebels and stuff like that. So I think that label is just like being one of those underground ones that if you do something on there, you end up going on to be like a hero and a legend in the scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, do you know, Damien Lazarus is like, he's a genius. He is. It's funny actually, because through lockdown I was watching his Sunday sort of clips on Instagram. They were brilliant.
Yeah, he's class, isn't he? He loves all types of music as well, doesn't he? He's got a wicked collection, man.
He actually played for us. I played for Cool House back in, I'm trying to think what year it was. I had him, And there's a few guests we had back from Kulos, right? But there's a few that stand out, you know, for just being actually sort of different in a good way. And he was definitely one. I mean, he was such a just character.
You never know what's going to happen when you watch him.
No.
So good, man.
Yeah, it's just like Mr. C was another one. It's just like the way they think is completely different to everybody else.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's such a, you know, and it's a huge link. But yeah, it's well, man, it's well, fingers crossed then. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, man. I met him before, and he was like, "Oh yeah, send me some music over," and we just had a chat about beards for about 20 minutes. Like,
so have you sent him stuff as well then?
No, I haven't yet, man. I haven't been making that type of sound, but as soon as I get like the next year, I've got what I want to make, like planned in my head already. So once I've gone on that thing, I'll start going in that direction then and send him some cool stuff like that, man. That, you know, hippie desert vibey stuff, man.
Yeah. Desert vibey stuff. So do you want on that, right? If you could sort of thinking about it, if you could remix any track, right? So it could be anything. So if you say actually, DJ Lucas Alexander, you can have this. What would that be?
I don't know, man. I always go back and forth on it because every time someone says, "Oh, this is a remix of this coming out," I'm thinking, "Oh, do I need to hear a remix of it though?" Because it's like, love the original. Do I need to hear a remix of it? And every time I say it, the remix comes out, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's fucking class, man." Sometimes I end up liking it more. Like the prime example of that was, remember when Hot Since '82 did that remix of "Bigger Than Prince"?
Yeah.
That was huge, wasn't it? It was massive. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And then it came. I think Darius put a tweet out saying, "Oh, I'm doing a remix of "Bigger Than Prince." I was just like, "Oh, I'm not sure about doing another remix of that because the other one was massive. It's so good." And then he put a remix out, and I was like, "That's probably my favorite track." Hey, like an acid remix of it. So it just goes to show that, like, even though if you love a track, like the remix of it could be better. Do you know what I mean? I've always thought it can't be, but it can, man.
Yeah. I like that. You're thinking, how can this be better than this?
Yeah. That's what I mean. And then someone goes and makes it better. So I think I'd even do a Motown track or a Michael Jackson track. So I think I'd either do a Diana Ross Upside Down or Michael Jackson Rock With You, I reckon. Them two. I think if I had if they said, "Oh look, here's all the parts that they used to make this," version, I'd do it. Then I'd have a go. Like, you know.
You need to jump on Diana Ross, right? Because she's playing in the Castle next year.
Yeah, no, I know. I've seen it. Yesterday. I was like, I'm 100. I literally messaged my missus straight away. I said, "Have you seen who's playing in the Castle?"
I know. As soon as I give a ticket, a book for that.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if you did. You're playing on the Castle again.
I know, mate. I know. I'm gonna have to have words.
There's Shangri-La after party as well with Diana Ross.
Yeah, I know, mate. I think you see what she's saying on the day, so I'll get some backstage passes.
You know what? That's great. Yeah, well, I think that Bushwhack had done. I was reading about him because he'd done a Michael Jackson or Billie Jean. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
It was funny because it was an interview I seen on Facebook, and he didn't get any money from it, but the exposure he got. Because I think it's Warner Brothers or EMI just jumped on it. But the exposure he got from that one record.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes so much sense though, doesn't it? Because it's just like legendary. It is.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? That'd be great. We're talking about, new remix of Diana Ross. Now imagine that. When is it? Next June. So almost 12 months later. You could be up on. You could be there.
We have to keep on putting it out there, and hopefully someone hears it. Like, oh yeah, come on.
Come. Brilliant. Do you know? Obviously, you're doing stuff with the Shangri-La. So are you official resident with Shangri-La? And
I played for him for, it must be like it was their 10th birthday the other day. Yeah, I reckon I must have played for him for at least 9 years now. Out of those.
Wow.
I know.
So how did that come about?
James, one of the guys who runs it, and Nick, they've been doing it for years, and they started it in one of the clubs that I used to be a resident for. Yeah. And I used to, they used to do one floor, so I used to be playing on the other floor when they did it. Yeah. And then I don't know when it happened, but at one point they went 2 floors, and then I used to play downstairs. Then they used to have the acts upstairs. Yeah. And I don't know how it happened, but then I would end up getting like a big crowd downstairs. And then like a big crowd upstairs as well. So then we started swapping it around. So then the acts would go downstairs and I'd go upstairs. And then we kind of had our own like little following for each floor.
Yeah.
So then just started from there. And then ever since then, I've literally played every single one, unless I've been in the country, I've played it, man. So I've played from so long now, even so when everything starts, like things have started to get bigger and bigger now. I'll never stop playing for them because I've always played from, you know what I mean? And they've always supported me and put me on lineups with huge people and that. So
they've had some big, some big parties. Obviously that popping one with the Castle, that's immense. I mean, and not just that, it's obviously having the Trick label and the guest on it as well. Amazing event. And what was the one this weekend? It was RG Hamilton, wasn't it?
Yeah, RG Hamilton and Lauren Lowe sang it was. He was in Depot.
Yeah.
So just like, so that was where my studio was going to be. The original container was going to be next, just across.
Okay. Yeah,
man, it was wicked in there. That was really good. So that'll be a wicked one. They got Dennis Salter in there coming up as well in Halloween.
So is it sold out?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I literally seen on. I was like, fair play to them. Again, and there's somebody else who's got energy behind it. Is Dennis Salter just completely you just fixated on him DJing. Yeah. But what a great guest that is as well. So But so let's talk about So you're DJ Lucas and you're the producer DJ Lucas Alexander. I'm going to put you in their hands now. I'm going to give you as much money as you want, and you're going to put it on your own night. So what does that night look like?
I think it'd definitely be DC 10 is my best. It's my favorite club, I reckon. Yeah. Well, favorite club I've been to so far.
Have you been there?
Yeah, man, I played there.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What was it like to play there?
Yeah, wicked, man, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Nice, man. It was DJ Dion was playing, and then he asked me to jump on and have a few tracks in there in the terrace room.
Brilliant.
Played a couple of my own tracks. It was wicked, man. It was so good. It's quality, man.
You're halfway there, then. We're halfway there with this question.
Yeah, since Spaces closed, then that's my next favorite now.
Yeah.
So, I think I'd do. I'd ask them to open the garden first of all. Yeah, because I've seen some amazing sets in there. I could have just the main room and the terrace. I'd have to ask them to have the garden as well.
Yeah,
and I think in the garden I'd put Horton in there closing the garden because I watched them close the garden before and it was unbelievable.
Yeah,
and before that I'd have Damien Lazarus because just the way like outside vibes is Damien Lazarus.
Yeah,
I watched him in there before as well, and he was class. And then I just ask Apollonia to start and then just play for however long they want, and then until Lazarus goes on. Those three back to back are just so good when I just stand in the sun listening to them for hours and hours, man.
Yeah.
And then in the terrace, I think because it's like when Jamie Jones does Paradise in there, and then when they have Circle Loco there and they have Martinez Brothers in there, the atmosphere and the vibe that they bring in there they made like that room their own. Do you know what I mean? So every time I think of watching them play a set, I think of it being in there. So I'd have to put, I think Jamie Jones closing, Martin Brothers before for the energy.
Yeah.
And then I'd put Enzo Siragusa before that.
Yeah.
And then I think I'd ask Archie Hamilton to open it up in there, man. I think that would be a solid day in the terrace.
Wicked.
And then in the main room, because it's not just like that type of like house music I like as well. I also like loads of other stuff like Afterlife and stuff like that. So in the main room I'd switch it up a bit and I'd put Sven Bath open it up in there. You can never go wrong with that, man. You know it's going to be good. I don't think it's impossible for him to play a bad set. Put him in there first, and I put Taylor Russ on after him, and then Solomon then after that because he's up there for me for one of my favorite people to watch.
Yeah.
But I've always said no one can go on after Solomon, but the only person left is Dixon. So definitely Dixon.
Brilliant.
So I think that would be it'd be impossible to choose which room you go into. But
I was just going to say it would be you'd have to for yourself. You obviously have a little set in each one of those rooms. But as a punter, how the hell will you choose which one to go in?
I don't think you could. But it's one of those things where it'd be so busy you'd have to get stuck in one and then just stay in there.
You'd have to forget the other rooms are going on. Tell your mates there's only one room in here.
Yeah.
In fairness, that musically wise, right? That's right up my street as well. And that's yeah. Well, if you sell the tickets now, I'll buy one off you now.
I hope someone hears this now and puts it on next summer. We can all go.
Yeah, that's amazing. But so obviously, it's about you now. Let's talk about you. What's next? What is the next 12 months? What's coming up for you? Where can people see you or hear you? What's coming out?
Well, my next single is out on Moxie Music as well. That's going to be called La Di Da, and that's been we've had that ready for a while. So everyone's probably messaged me asking me for the idea of it already.
Yeah.
But we've been trying to hold it back, and it originally was supposed to come out last summer. Yeah. Obviously, everything that happened, it didn't, and then it's supposed to come out this summer, and then obviously that was stopped again as well. So it's supposed to be next month now, October, but the pressing plants are all got a big backlog. So
have they?
Yeah, so you can't really get any vinyl press or stuff like that. So it was supposed to be ready by the 1st of October, but with everything that's been pushed back, we're not sure how long it's going to take for the vinyl to be pressed. So we wanted the vinyl to come out first, and then we're going to bring out the digital 2 weeks after. Yeah, we're just waiting to see what's happening now with the vinyl. So hopefully it'll be ready to go in the next couple of weeks. But as soon as it is, I'll let you know anyway.
Yeah, wicked.
That's the big one I've been waiting for. That is. So hopefully that gets sorted soon.
Brilliant.
And after that, I've been doing a few demos for a few different people and stuff like that. Nick Curley messaged me and asked me to do some music for him. So I'm going to work on an EP for his Cecil label, which I can't wait for, man, because obviously Nick Curley is huge, and he's been around for so long. He's a legend in the scene, and everything that comes out on that Cecil is unbelievable. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that, man. And then Luke Van Dyke as well from Amsterdam messaged and said he'd love me to put something on his label. So I'm definitely going to work towards, that type of housey, minimally sound for him. Yeah. And then the last one was Enzo Siragusa. Got a message from him saying about making some tracks for his label. So I've been sending tracks back and forth with him now. So wow, just waiting for one of those to get snapped up. So just waiting now to see. He's downloaded a few and he's played a few in his sets. So I'm just waiting to see which one he wants to sign to the label now, man. So that should be good.
So you've got lots happening.
Yeah, mate, there's loads going on. I can't believe the amount of stuff that's going on, to be honest, man. Yeah. There's loads of remixes happening and stuff like that. I just got asked to do a remix for Viva as well. Yeah. So after all those years of going to Viva Warriors with a headband on, I'm finally going to make a track for them now.
That's brilliant.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. And the craziest one of all is I had Todd Edwards' manager message me, asking me if I wanted to do a remix for one of his old tracks. He's bringing out his back catalogue. Right. So they're looking for new remixes of all his old tracks. So he's asked me to do one of those, man. So I've just finished it now. So
that's amazing.
See what happens with that, man.
He's done it.
Yeah, I finished it, man. So I've sent it over. He said he loves it. So let's see how that goes now.
But does it get your brother's approval? Obviously, being
I know that.
Does it get your brother's approval?
That's the first person I rung and said as soon as the message, I literally screenshot it, saying to him, said, "Oh, look at this! How crazy is this, man?"
You must have phoned your brother and said, "You never guess what."
I know, mate. I know.
He was like, "You've made it. You've made
it."
Yeah,
that's what he said. He said that's how you know it's done now. It's full circle. So it's just you consider the godfather of UK garage. So to be asked to do a remix of one of his tracks, and then they want me to do a couple of tracks for his label as well. So
that's
that as well, man.
So there's a lot going on. Not a little bit. There's a lot going on.
It seems to have just been snowballing now for my first one, because I had my first one on Moxie, which that mic check one went off and everybody played that, man. I seen so many different videos of that, and I went straight into top 20 on Beatport as well. So that was crazy, man. For my first ever, proper track to be released and go straight into the top 20 is crazy.
That's brilliant. Do you think the thing you can't think of? Is this it's all the hard work you put in?
I know, mate. I know. I had to start after that first release came out. I had to stop. I'm never checking any of the Beatport charts again now. So I wake up in the morning, my missus was like, "Oh, where is it now? Where is it in the chart now?" And I was checking every morning, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do this all the time now, man." So I've made a pact now to never ever look into the charts to see where any of my music gets now. It's too stressful checking every day.
Oh,
but then after that, for putting a track up with Ben Rao on his Meta label as well, that's like a big one for me, because like obviously that type of the scene is quite like, everyone's like quite much not more serious, but like it's like a big thing, you know what I mean? You can't just, you got to be accepted into that, like that style of music and that. So when I was asked to do that, that was a big one, man, because you know, everybody, once you make like one track, everyone tries to put you in like a pigeonhole of, oh, you can only make this, or you can only make that. So when he asked me to do a couple of tracks for his label, so I was loving that, man, because I get to, you know, explore like the deeper sounds, you know, because I don't just like listen to like one part of house music. I like listening to it all. So I knew I could make something different then for him. And then again with that He She They label as well. Yeah, you know, those guys, everything they do is amazing. All their parties are unbelievable. So when they asked me to do some tracks, then I knew I could make some like harder, like Virgin on like techno type of stuff as well, man. So it was so good. So I got to make 3 different EPs or 3 huge labels I didn't think I was going to be getting on, and then I got to make like 3 different styles. You know what I mean? So it was wicked, man.
But you know what? That's great, because the diversity of, you know, obviously for you to do that and you can go in whatever direction you want to go in.
Yeah.
You know, and that's great. You know, that's and that will keep you then interested with other people on the floor, because you keep in the dance floor sort of interested as well. It's not just that one sort of like, well, I'm only done this. If you're going to come see me, expect this. Actually, it's not. I'm going to go take whichever direction I feel like I'm taking.
And that's the best part about it, because even with like my gigs and stuff like that, if I'm playing like an outdoor venue and stuff like that, and I don't play the same stuff as I would play in like if I was like playing in a small dark club, you know what I mean? Because I've DJ'd from young and played everything. Like I've got so much music, so at a different occasion, of course, with different types of music. So I'd never play the same stuff, and like it depends what day it is and what's going on, and if the sun's shining and that. You know?
I love that, just especially right, and you know your set's not planned because you have a decks in your house, so you just turn up with your records and you're just playing, so you know that's not planned. So that's fair play to you. You know, so do you know, on with what you've been speaking about the last sort of 40 minutes now as well, you mean you've achieved quite a bit. But tips and sort of for anyone who's just starting out, you know, a 12-year-old So what would you say?
I say that you have to decide what you want to do, and if this is something you want to do for the rest of your life and dedicate your whole life to it, because there's going to be people who are doing that. Do you know what I mean? So you need to decide if you want to be, you know, top of the pile and you want to be like Jamie Jones, or you got to decide whether you just want to do it now and again. You know, if you get on a couple of lineups and you get to play now and again.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard, it's so much hard work you have to put into it if you want to get to, you know, the top of the pile. So I just say you need to decide like how much time you got, how much you want to put in there. Do you want it to be like, you know, do you want to go for it as like a Premiership footballer would and go for the top thing? Because, you know, they wouldn't be doing different stuff, do you know what I mean, on the weekends, doing this or doing that. They just dedicate their life to one thing in hopes to get to the Premiership. I think that's what it is in this as well. I think if you want to get to that top tier and be one of those big touring DJs, then you've got to put everything into it. Otherwise, you know, all distractions, like if you're like playing a computer every night when you come home from work or whatever, instead of making music, then you're not going to have enough music to put out there and get about. You know what I mean? There's going to be people pushing to get on those lineups, who are going to end up getting on them before you because they're putting in the time and the effort. So I just say, decide if it's what you want to do for your rest of your life, or if it's, you know, just a hobby that you want to do now and again. You just want to play in a couple of bars, local bars and stuff like that. I'd say just decide what you want to be. You want to pick a DJ at a certain level and say, oh, this is what I'm aiming for. And then see what because you can see what effort they put in, you know. So I'd say definitely decide like how much time and effort, because it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of time. If you want to be, you know, a great producer, you've got to be producing every day. Every track you make it's better than the last one. So, you know, if you're going to make 100 tracks, that 101 tracks going to be unbelievable. So you got to put in thousands of hours, you know, to get there. So I just say just decide what you want to do. Do you want to just be a DJ that just plays here and there, or do you want to be, you know, an artist? That's what I'd say.
Do you know what? That's fantastic advice, because I think in this industry, you know, you can get carried away. Certainly on the weekends, you know, the parties, you know, the weekends can get caught, and then the time there's not enough time. I think you're right. To dedicate yourself, and that's, I think, brilliant advice. Brilliant advice.
Thanks.
Brilliant advice.
I thought about that, because I thought, like, because a couple of people have messaged on Instagram and said, "Oh, have you got any advice?" And I thought, how long have you got? Like,
yeah, because you can go, but I think you're right. If you just say, well, there's lots of different advice which probably can give, certainly sort of production wise, but you've got to mentally think, do you really want this? How far do you want to take it? And if you want to do that, you've got to sacrifice. You've got to sacrifice going out with your mates. You've got to sacrifice playing, becoming the best FIFA player on whatever it is, just to put your time into making music.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. You got to be like willing as a DJ as well. Everybody always like says about, oh yeah, I've been asked to play here, but I don't want to sell tickets and all stuff like that. I shouldn't have to sell tickets to be a DJ. It's like, if there's somebody out there that's going to sell tickets to be a DJ, and they might even be a better DJ than you. So when everyone's saying, I want to do this, I want to do this, I don't even know how many free sets I've played over the years. I've played hours and hours and hours of free sets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you've got to be willing to put in not just the work, you've got to put in the time, you've got to put in money. You've got to be willing to play everywhere you can possibly play to try and get your name out there. You can't just expect to rock up and get paid however much to just go and play in a club. When at the moment as well, everybody's a DJ, so you have to do something to get ahead, type of thing. So I think that's what, when people say I want to be a DJ, they don't think about, you got to be willing to put 1,000 hours into making music before, you know, to get onto a lineup, because you've got no tracks out. It's hard to get a booking if you've got no music released and stuff like that.
Yeah, completely. What do you stand out from the rest of it? Do you know what, buddy? I think it's I've loved listening to you. I was really intrigued, you know, obviously being a fellow Cardiffian as well. I mean, and it's great, you know, since, you know, and first of all, say thank you, because you've been a great supporter for me as well. But watching sort of like, you sort of, for the last, 6 months since I've sort of come across you, right? And it's great to see in sort of like what you're doing, what the music you're producing, the sets you're playing it as well. I think and what you just said, what's coming up, I just wish you all the best. You know, you've got, do not ever lose that smiley face, because it is infectious.
As soon as a good song comes on, it comes out. I can't even help it. So.
Yeah, you know, keep it going, because you know what? It's, as I said to you, behind the decks, you're seeing it, the end you're producing. Yeah, you got it, and but it's brilliant. So I just want to say thank you for supporting me, and just keep it going.